Thank you for joining us this morning.
Pleasure.
And my first question is about NATO since 2019 London summit. And since then, many things have changed. There was a global pandemic. There's a lot of debate in NATO if NATO should have a role in it, in rescuing the world from, at least the member countries, from COVID-19. And then there was a US presidential elections. So this 18 months period, do you think it was a transformative moment for NATO as well?
Well, I think there are all the elements to become transformation, in the sense that in these months, all the world has changed. I mean, not a lot of certainties, a lot of fixed points of reference also changed. After the financial crisis, then the pandemic. These have shown several things. Has shown how fragile we are all together. It has shown how technology is changing the world. This has shown also the positioning of different countries around the world. We are thinking about China in particular. We are thinking about Russia, but we are thinking about ourselves. So therefore, these 18 months have changed the world, and it is clear that into this discussion, the role of NATO is part of this discussion. So the NATO which will come out from this period is certainly different from the one of that we have known. I would like to recall something which is obvious, but sometimes a bit hidden.
In what ways NATO will be different?
It's different because NATO has been during the Cold War and immediately after, has been seen as essentially a military alliance, which it is. But let's not forget the founding treaty of NATO is speaking about values, speaking about values of democracy. It's a political alliance with the economic consequence based on a military operation. So I think that all these parts were a bit, let's say, left aside. Now they are very forcefully coming out because everybody is increasingly thinking about the fact that they are not just military allies, but also part of a community. So NATO is a community. How this will, let's say, work and what this will imply in order to address things which so far were never considered of priority, like pandemic or even intervening far away. This is something which is ongoing. I mean, the reason why I see this as a big process and the ongoing work to produce the vision and the reality of NATO for the future is extremely important. So yes, I would say NATO is due to do more, but how and which kind of added value is something that we have to discuss now.
That's interesting that you mention it, because my next question was on 2030 report, and the report will be probably one of the main agenda items in the NATO summit. What do you think about this report? What do you think about its recommendations? I know that it's a work in process right now, especially in its implementation. Do you think it was a good understanding of the current challenges and emerging opportunities for NATO countries?
Well, I think that NATO cannot miss the opportunity to think about itself, and therefore the final result that the Secretary General will present next year will be crucial. Preparatory work are interesting for two reasons. First, the process is not just a discussion among specialists of security matters. Is a discussion and a consultation process involving stakeholders of all kinds. Simply the definition of stakeholder, youth, civil society, groups of economic interest, is quite different from the usual. So it means that the report and the future is not just about military, it's about economics, it's about new technology, it's about the common way of assess threats, how we can work together. So in all this, is really transformative. So the important things, and in my view also today's discussion are this: to agree on a method, to agree on fundamentals, to rebuild these fundamentals in a problematic way. The reason why I really hope that in spite of tensions here and there, the necessity of looking a bit far away will prevail, because you can solve many of the present tensions, including inside the alliance, only if you have a common vision of the future. Because this is a community. So we have to think that in this way.
And today's meeting, which has been, a lot of experts has been very optimistic about it, and there is a general feeling that maybe it is because of COVID that COVID is ending. maybe it is because of Biden administration attitude towards NATO. There are very high expectations. Do you think people are being thinking wishfully, or do you think there will be a really solid outcome of this meeting for NATO?
Look, we will see, but there are several factors which are taken into consideration. First, the coming back of the United States. I mean, the United States were obviously fully committed to NATO, but in a way so unpredictable that people were also thinking at a certain moment Trump could also get out from the structure that we know now. The coming back, and in particular the approach of Biden, I think is particularly important for this, and important that this is discussed among everybody. In order to have the President of the United States himself speak about this, because Biden is very much value-based, forward-looking, but multilateral also. So therefore, I think that the real hope that I have is that this summit, apart from some specific deliverable maybe, is really a summit of rebuilding common feeling, common trust, and the common awareness that if we believe in this community, if we are part of this community, we have to set up a method for better understanding, for better talking, and for better planning together. So therefore, I expect this. If this will happen, this will be incredibly important.
Okay. And last question on Turkey. Turkey-NATO relations. What do you think about the state of the relations right now between?
Look, I mean, let's make the difference between what are precisely what I meant. Some important tensions inside, and it's visible for everybody that there is increasingly a sort of friction, divergence, even exchanges at the highest level with not really nice work. These are, in my view, the elements showing that also, I mean, the whole problematic is also hidden inside. But let's not focus on this. Let's not focus on, let's say, on this as if they were the problem and the solution. The problem is the new dimension. Everybody is contributing, including Turkey, because Turkey is living and is experiencing, I mean, daily politics in one of the most unstable areas of the world. And I used to say, strongly believing of the interest of the Union and Turkey to be close together, that Turkey is managing the external border of the Union in one of the most difficult areas of the world. Therefore, foreign policy and security policy of Turkey has needs which sometimes must be better understood by the other partners, the United States and Europeans. Now, but at the same time, and here is the real challenge, Turkey has to bring all this within the alliance in order to contribute to this, let's say, thinking common, and in order to contribute to have a common reply of the whole of the alliance for the specific threats that Turkey is dealing with and suffering. But this is not just the region, it's a question also far away. What about Turkey? What about China? What about the new situation in the Indo-Pacific? Turkey has big stakes in Central Asia, for example. This is an asset for NATO. So therefore, let's say today is quite dynamic. We can see even some tensions. Let's not stop to them and taking them as the final point. Let's take them as phenomena which are showing that the new things that are appearing, and everybody should look at this and should think about this. The important is that everybody give visible evidence that we believe in this alliance and we believe in this community. And I'm sure, being an old chap from this, that this will give a boost to a new relationship between the European Union and Turkey, because the two need each other. Never ever like this in this moment.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.